Hey fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps for Fight Hub TV and I'm joined now with Abel Sanchez. Abel, thank you for taking the time here in Big Bear. Beautiful facility you have. Yes, thank you very much. It took me a year to get it done, but it's done. We've been training here now for about 4 months, so it came out a lot better than I thought it was going to come out. Seriously. Right.
Our combination, we have a dry sauna, dressing areas, massage tables, so it came out good.
Yeah. Definitely a one-stop shop for people who want to train up here in Big Bear. Just want to ask you a few of the most recent headlines that are happening in boxing, if you don't mind. The most recent being the WBC stripping Terence Crawford of his belt due to not paying the sanctioning fees. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, and have you ever seen this happen before?
Well, first of all, I think that I have to say that Terence fought a great fight. And he's tarnishing by not being honorable. He's tarnishing that great victory that he just had. By not being honorable and living up to not only his responsibility, but his promises. The WBC made it possible. I shouldn't say the WBC. The organizations made it possible for Terence to be known. We have Terence was fighting for the...
2. Terence Crawford. If at the beginning when he first started his career, he could have said, I'm never ever going to pay sanctioning fees. Do you think anybody would have ever known him outside of his hometown? Nobody. Because he wouldn't be recognized by any sanctioning body that he was somebody.
Beginning when he first started his career, he could have said, I'm never ever going to pay sanctioning fees. Do you think anybody would have known him outside of his hometown? Nobody, because he would be recognized by any sanctioning body that he was somebody. So I think that is not too honorable not to be paying what he agreed to before the fight. If he had said before the fight, I'm not going to pay it, then WBC would have not sanctioned the bout. Then they can both walk the opposite direction. But he agreed to pay. He agreed in that amount. So I think it's a disgrace that he's not doing it.
There's a lot of, and of course this is coming from different opinions online, there's a lot of people that feel that the sanctioning bodies are worthless today. What would you like to say to the people who believe that?
I think the people who are saying that are not involved in the sport of boxing. Every organization, let's just say the college football, they're having the national championship. I think they have like 12 teams that are going to take the national championship. Somebody has to rate those teams. They have
3. They move up the rankings in these organizations to be able to challenge for a belt. If they were not moving up those rankings, they would not be challenging for a belt. And if you have a 10-round fight somewhere, it pays say small number say $100. If you have a championship fight, now it's worth $500.
In the IBF, then who would know the fighters? How would the public know who they were? By them taking on ads, they're telling people that I'm 16-0 now, I'm 15-0. No, there's a reason why they're moving up the rankings, because they're getting better. They move up the rankings in these organizations to be able to challenge for a belt. If they were not moving up those rankings, they would not be challenging. And if you have a 10-round fight somewhere, you pay, say, a small number, say, $100. If you have a championship fight, now it's worth $500. So the belts make a difference. Just like when we were kids, we used to race motorcycles or bicycles. We didn't race for money. We raced for a little trinket, a little trophy that we still keep. I don't know if you keep your trophies, but I know my kids keep theirs in the garage somewhere. So we race for that trinket, and that belt is the trinket that we make money on. Yes, but Terence Crawford made $50 million not because it's Terence Crawford. We made it because the organizations put him there.
So let's talk about the percentage. Obviously, it was less than the standard percent that the WBC would normally require, which is 3%. Mauricio has said that they agreed to a lesser percent, and I can't quote exactly what that amount was, but I know it was less than 1%. And, you get the argument from people who go, well, where's all this money going to, and why do they charge so much? Like, just what are your thoughts overall on that? And can you kind of explain a bit more, aside from obviously them holding a title, but like why it's so important that fighters pay their sanctioning fees?
Well, first of all, I think that the number that was mentioned was 300.
4. They're not asking Terran what he's doing with his money. They're not asking me what I'm doing with my money. So, I think that the organizations, I believe the WBC has some kind of program in Vegas where they help other older fighters and retired fighters. But really, it's nobody's business.
AWBO and IBF. If he agreed to it, if he didn't agree with it, let's just say, then he shouldn't have fought for the WBC belt. What the organizations do with that money is really none of anybody's business. It's a business. That they use it for charity, that they use it to help other fighters, that they use it for, that's their business. They're not asking Terence what he's doing with his money. They're not asking me what I'm doing with my money. So I think that the organizations, I believe the WBC has some kind of program in Vegas where they help other older fighters and retired fighters.
Yeah, they do.
But really, it's nobody's business. The fan, it's not costing the fan a dime. So the fan really has nothing to critique or to ask questions because it's not their money. They have a company, which is the organizations that they pay, let's just say the chairmen of Africa to go look at fights, to go see fighters fight so that they can rate them. That money has to go somewhere. Those people need to be paid somehow. So the organizations have a structure where they take care of their people so that they can get the ratings from all over the world, so that everybody that's eligible or qualified to be rated is rated. If we didn't have representatives in Africa, let's just say, and there was a lot of great fighters in Africa, why aren't they getting the opportunity to fight for a world title to make more money? So all those monies that are being collected are being used for a lot of different reasons in the structure of the organization, and it should be nobody's business with it, in my opinion.
Do you happen to know what happens now? Like if a fighter says that they're going to do something and then they don't do it, like is there some sort of legal repercussion for that? I mean, I'm not sure. I've never seen, from the years I've been covering boxing, I've not seen this happen.
I don't believe it's a legal repercussion. I think that he made an agreement. He signed a contract.
A verbal
agreement. No, he signed a contract.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He signed a contract.
Well, I'm saying, like, if there's a binding legal document that says that he has to pay and he doesn't pay it, I mean,
I don't know what the organizations require them to be able to sanction about. I think that because of this, the rules will change with the organizations. Their requirements will be different. But as far as what happens in the future with other fighters, let's just have all the fighters now that have balls say, I'm not going to pay any sanction fees for any title fight. I can bet you dollars to donuts that they'll never get a title shot. They can fight for the Big Bear belt if they want. It's not going to make a difference. So, and they're never going to be rated either. So they can make that. They can make that claim today before they fight for anything. They're not going to pay, and I promise you, they're not going to fight for any title. Now, as far as Terence is concerned, he's 38 years old. He's not going to fight for anything. He's done what has never been done before. He is the face of boxing right now. Unfortunately, he's tarnishing that. But he's never going to fight for WBC belt. He doesn't care to fight for WBC belt again. Probably will never get an opportunity again.
What do you think that says, though, about boxing at the moment, that there are some fighters who are looking at it as in like, well, we don't need the belts. Why are we paying all of this money towards the belts? Like, do you see that shift happening, that we might potentially see the belts phase out?
Never, because if there's 3 or 4 fighters, maybe a list of 10 fighters in the world that maybe don't need the belts. The rest of the fighters do. Nobody knows them. The only way they're going to know them is if they're champions. If they fight a 10-round fight somewhere for nothing, nobody's going to know that.
There's prestige. There's prestige that comes with having the belt.
Yeah, but TV's not going to cover that. HBO required title fight. They didn't require 10-round fights. They require title fights. DAZN requires. Fans are complaining because they're not getting the title fights. No, it's a double-edged sword. Fans are complaining because Eddie Hearn's not putting on the fight that he promised he's going to put on, the title fight. Well, you need belts for title fights. They're not going to put on a 10-round fight. Teofimo and Shakur fighting a 10-round fight is not going to matter to anybody. They're fighting for a belt. Ryan fight Barrios, but they were just fighting a 10-round fight. You couldn't put that on in here in Big Bear, and it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't draw, it wouldn't sell. So the belts are very important for not only the prestige, but for they're fighting for something. They're actually fighting for recognition, worldwide recognition.
But they're also gaining leverage when it comes to negotiations as well. Because when you're putting a belt on the line, you could negotiate for more money versus you're just having a fight against whoever, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. You're fighting for a belt. You're fighting for something. You're not just putting a 10-round fight in a club show. You're fighting for, now you're going to be recognized as a world champion or an interim champion. But still, you're a world champion. That means that you can command. That means that before you were one of 10, now you're number one. There's 10 guys chasing you. So yeah, they're necessary. In my opinion, they're necessary. That the organizations now will clamp down on what their requirements are going to be now. And the only ones that suffer is us, because we have one guy that's not being honorable.
I was just going to say that. I'm sure now moving forward, it's going to change the way that things are done in terms of if you say you're going to do something, there has to be, I don't know. I don't know how it works when they get paid. Maybe it's deducted before they're paid. I don't know. I can see something shifting from this point.
Yeah, well, when they fight, they just say they fight in Vegas. They're going to have a contract to fight each other. If it's going to be sanctioned by a particular organization, I think that we're going to get to the point where they're going to have a contract too, and it has to be just like the manager's part and the trainer's part sometimes are deducted from the purse. I think that's what's going to have to happen. If they have an agreement or not the sanctioning. I think that the best thing to do for the WBC now is if they don't have, or WBA or any of those, if they don't have that, just don't sanction the bout. We the ones that are going to suffer, because now we're put in a position where we're not undisputed, let's just say, or we're not fighting for a world title. Fulton just lost the other night, and he was overweight, so he couldn't fight for the title. So is Fulton going to make the kind of money he makes? He eventually lost, but is he going to make the kind of money he would eventually make as a champion, as a 10-round fighter? Absolutely not. It doesn't work that way.
Last time you and I spoke in Riyadh, it was just rumored to be happening, which was the Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson. We talked a bit about that, but I wanted to ask you, not just about your thoughts on the fight of being official, because sometimes we hear rumors, right? We think we're so close and it doesn't happen. I was hoping that wasn't the case, but here we are. How does each one win, in your opinion?
Great fight, like I told you back then. I think it's reminiscent of I call them the Five Kings. I know people say the Four Kings, but I call them the Five because Benitez belongs in there too. Great fight. Shakur's a great talent, and Teofimo looked great in his last fight. Of course, he didn't have Shakur in front of him. But I think that for Shakur, he has to keep fighting at his distance. If he does that, I think it's a win for him. Teofimo, he's more, he wants to draw you in, he wants to counter punch. He's going to have to be a different guy this time. He's going to have to attack. He's going to have to be leading the fight, or else it's going to be a boring fight. I don't think it'd be a boring fight, but if he sits back and waits for Shakur's going to wait for him. It's not going to be exciting. But I think Teofimo will attack. I think Teofimo has to attack. I think Teofimo has to do what Zepeda did, except for Teofimo's a lot more talented than Zepeda was. So I think that honestly, I see a draw.
5. He wants to counter punch. He's going to have to be a different guy this time. He's going to have to attack. He's going to have to be leading the fight, or else it's going to be a boring fight. I don't think it'll be a boring fight, but if he sits back and waits for Shakur is going to wait for him.
Your body's filling out. You get that man body, as they say. So, are you surprised that he's still hanging around at 140? I mean, would you want to see him move up?
No, I think the challenge of the name Shakur is going to make him make the weight just the way he has to. I don't think he'll sacrifice, because I think he knows that he's going to have to be in tip-top shape, physically and emotionally, to be able to beat Shakur. No, I'm happy that he's there, because he's fighting a big name. he's getting in there with what the fans are calling for.
Mm-hmm. Shakur gets criticized for not being, quote, exciting. What do you think of that?
I think that Shakur is the kind of fighter that's so good that kind of like Andre Ward was.
I was going to say Andre, yeah.
He's so good that he doesn't really have to work that hard. Mm-hmm. A guy like Teofimo is going to make him work hard. A guy like Teofimo could make Shakur look like $1 million because he's going to press him. Shakur's going to have to use his skills, which are immense, and it's going to make for a great fight. And we're going to see if at least I will see anyway, if Shakur is the star that I think he is. He just doesn't understand himself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so right now you're 50-50. That's it.
I'm a draw right now. I can't pick either way because they're both very talented.
Right.
Unless Teofimo does the kind of fight that I think that he has to do,